Hi, good morning. Today is August 4th. It's Tuesday, and it's a little stormy here in Delaware. But yeah, so I was doing some meditation this morning, and I felt guided to come on here and do a video to share a little bit about my story. Some of you may know I have written a book called The Nature of God, The Revelation, which is channeled messages from your Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, and Archangel Michael. And when I did a book launch back on June 15th, and I got a lot of questions. And, one of the biggest questions I got was, how did I learn how to connect with God and the angels? And when did I know my connection was real? And kind of how did things sort of transpire? And I thought my story might be helpful as other people are looking to make connections with God and the angels. And, so I just wanted to share a little bit about that history. So in September of 2007, I thought I was Jesus. I went like 3 nights without sleeping, and I felt like I was Jesus coming back to save the earth, and I was having these terrible fears that something I would do would cause my son to die. So it was very traumatic, and nobody knew what was happening. I'd never had any kind of experiences like that before, and my family was very confused, and I ended up being hospitalized because nobody knew what was going on. And so I ended up being diagnosed as having a manic episode because I wasn't sleeping, and I was having, what was determined as delusional thoughts. And I went on medication and started seeing therapists and psychiatrists, and spent many years looking at what happened to me from a mental illness lens, and just sort of assuming that, that's what had happened to me, and just kind of followed the guidance of the doctors, and pretty much lived a normal life, being a wife and mother, and working as a clinical social worker, and then later in marketing and banking, and pretty much was just kind of going about my life. And then in 2017, in the fall of 2017, I met a medium, which is a person who connects with departed loved ones on the other side, and she did a reading for me. And then I went to a retreat about guides and angels, and I started to learn that you can actually connect with spirit beings on the other side, guides, angels, what are called ascended masters, kind of evolved spiritual beings, and things of that nature. And I was just shocked. And so I'd always sort of believed, I always had believed in a higher power, but I just never knew that there was such a way of connecting. So I really wanted to know more. And so I started to take a lot of classes, and I started to see a transpersonal psychologist who is a therapist who has a view of mental illness often as being a spiritual emergence. And what I learned is that when I thought I was Jesus, I was actually connecting with his energy, or what can also be known as the Christ consciousness. It's just that it came upon so quickly. I was in the situation was a traumatic event that sort of prompted kind of a re-trigger of my trauma, which caused my fears about my son dying. And there's a little bit about that in the book. But essentially what I learned was that I was connecting with Jesus's energy, but because it was happening so quickly, it was coming in so fast, I wasn't able to sleep, and all this energy wasn't grounded, and I wasn't really sort of present in my body, and I was just very confused. And I kind of liken it to riding a bike. Like if you're learning to ride a bike, and nobody's taught you how to use the brakes, and you're going downhill, well, of course you're going to crash and burn because you don't know how to stop it, right? And so that's what was happening with this energy. It was coming in, and I had no idea what was happening, and I had no one to guide me, to explain, that this is what was happening, and how I could, come back into my body, and how I could channel the energy in a safe way, without, not sleeping, and without feeling fearful, and all of these kinds of things. So fast forward now into 2020, I'm able to connect with God and the angels on a regular basis, and I am, continuing to channel messages. And I really, my hope is to get these messages out into the world, because I feel like there's lots that God and the angels have to say to us to bring us comfort and peace and joy and love, and to help us live the life of our dreams, and to just help us to be happy and live the lives they want us to live. So there's a lot of information in this book, the nature of God, the revelation, that will help you. It's kind of like a roadmap. Talks about my story, but about how you can learn to connect with God and the angels. It would be a different way, but in your way. But it gives you guidance on how to do that. So if you're interested, you can go to my website. It's www.michelledmccann. It's Michelle with two L's. MichelleDMccann.com. And then if you're not sure you want the book, or you're not sure that's of interest to you, that's fine. But there are a lot of resources on the website. So if you are someone who is also experiencing something that may be considered a spiritual emergence or emergency, where you are getting messages, but you're not clear on what's happening, things of that nature. There's a lot of resources on the website. And then there's also weekly channeled messages. So I continue to connect with God and the angels regularly. And then once a week, I channel a message of inspiration, of hope. And I put that, I send that out in a weekly email, and I post that on the website. So you can actually go to the website and sign up for the weekly email. It's sent on Sundays. Sunday mornings early. The Spirit team said that they want Sundays to become a time of reflection again, and not necessarily in a religious way. If you're religious and you go to church and you find that meaningful, that's certainly fine. But if you're not religious and you don't participate in church or whatever, there's no judgment about that. And, God and the angels are there for everyone, regardless of religion. Even if you don't believe in them, they're still there to support you. So, anyway, if you'd like to sign up for those channel messages, you can go to www.michelledmccann.com, and it will come to you in your inbox on Sunday mornings. So just briefly, I'll tell you about this coming Sunday. There's a little more to it, but kind of the highlight of the message is finding joy in the mundane, which at first I thought was kind of a little boring message. Like, really? Find joy in the mundane? But when I channeled a little bit more, it was really interesting. So the idea is that when we're doing the dishes, to sort of feel the soap and feel the water on our hands, or when we're doing the laundry, to smell the scent of the fresh, clean clothes, or when we're mowing the lawn, to feel the sunshine on our face. And what they said to me is that no moment is more important than another moment. This is the powerful message for this week. And what they explained is that God and the angels all like to experience all the moments of our lives. So in the heavenly realms, there's no physical experience like doing the laundry or doing the dishes or mowing the lawn. So they were saying, whether you're writing a book or speaking to 1,000 people, giving a motivational message, it is no more important than the moments that you're doing the dishes and doing the laundry. That every single moment is meaningful to God and the beings in spirit, and that they're with us every single moment. So I thought that was pretty powerful, and I wanted to share it. So anyway, if you are interested in learning more, check out my website, www.michelledmccann.com, and have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy, and wishing you all the best. As I say in my emails, peace, joy, and angel blessings. Okay, take care. Bye.